Nicknamed Skyscraper on the Prairie, it is North Dakota's tallest building at 19 stories. Built in the midst of the Great Depression with a turbulent construction that included labor strikes and martial law. The current North Dakota state capitol and the Capitol grounds on History Talk, where we step back through history to explore the people, places, and events that shaped our community. History Talk streams exclusively Thursdays at 10 a.m. on KFYR+. When fire destroyed the original capital on December 28, 1930, North Dakota was forced to finance constructing a new capital in the midst of the Great Depression. The state opted for efficiency with an Art Deco skyscraper, which would tower the city at 19 stories when completed in 1934. Its construction was turbulent, and its completion overshadowed by the forced removal of Governor Langer that same year. Prior to the Capitol's destruction, the state had already been anticipating the need for a new capital, as the original Capitol building approached 50 years old. Built during North Dakota's frontier era, the Liberty Memorial Building, the oldest surviving structure today on the Capitol grounds, was built in 1924 to help alleviate overcrowding of the growing state government until funding for a new capital was secured, which was suddenly stifled by the economic crisis of the Great Depression. In the wake of the Capitol's fire, Jamestown attempted to procure the capital for itself, but voters overwhelmingly defeated the attempt in 1932, keeping it in Bismarck. During the years without a capital, state offices were housed at various locations spread throughout the city, including the Patterson Hotel and Webb Brothers Block, above the namesake department store where the federal court used to be. Many of the large bank blocks also housed state offices during this time. Ground for the new capital was first broken on August 13th of 1932, and the ceremonial cornerstone was laid October 6th. The original cornerstone was a piece of granite taken from a boulder located in the farm of Roy S. Veeder, just west of the former Fort Abraham Lincoln. When the original cornerstone was damaged, a second cornerstone was placed on September 5, 1933. This may have been more appropriate, given the date was exactly 50 years after the cornerstone was laid for the original capital in 1883. Two time capsules were placed inside the cornerstone, containing newspapers, copies of the state's constitution, and other state documents, a city directory, cornerstone ceremony documentation, photographs, and numerous other items. On May 16, 1933, construction workers went on strike for better working conditions and a pay increase to 50 cents per hour. The strike lasted for weeks and resulted in several arrests and injuries. Governor William Langer declared martial law on June 1st to put an end to the strike. The new North Dakota state capitol was mostly complete by spring 1934, with dedication planned for June, but it wouldn't be formally dedicated until September, formally occupied the following January. It's very likely that Governor Langer's felony trial and forced removal is what delayed the dedication. The new capital was expected to have plenty of room to occupy the state government offices for the foreseeable future. However, the space quickly filled up. The government purchased the building that housed Bismarck Junior College, constructed southeast of the capital in 1955, to convert it to additional office space. In 1968, the Department of Transportation building was completed immediately southeast of the Capitol Tower. The massive office building still houses the Highway Department and Transportation Department to this day. Also that year, the state obtained a construction permit to add a judicial wing to the tower's east, completed in 1981. In addition to the Capitol itself, the Capitol grounds has many other buildings, monuments, and other interesting features. It is a highlight of a few of the more prominent ones. The Liberty Memorial Building is a state government building located on the grounds of the state capitol. It was completed in 1924 to help house offices for the overflowing state government. The Liberty Memorial Building and Liberty Memorial Bridge were both approved in 1919 and named to honor soldiers of World War I. The Liberty Memorial Building is the oldest building on the Capitol grounds, gaining this distinction after fire destroyed the original Capitol in 1930. It was originally constructed at a cost of $450,000 and underwent a major renovation between 1980 and 1982. Today, the building houses the State Library. The $8.4 million State Heritage Center was dedicated in May 1981, replacing the former historical museum housed at the Liberty Memorial Building. 4 current and past state governors attended the ceremony. Ground was broken in 1978. A $52 million expansion of the center was completed in 2014. The Capitol grounds also once contained the original log cabin, where President Theodore Roosevelt lived during the 1880s in the nearby Badlands. The cabin was relocated onto the grounds in 1906. It was relocated within the grounds in 1923, north of the Liberty Memorial Building. It was relocated back to the Badlands in 1959. Their current governor's mansion, or governor's residence, was completed in 2018. It replaced one adjacent that was occupied in March 1960 and demolished soon after the current one was occupied. The 1960 residence was the first to be located on the Capitol grounds, as the original was located at 320 East Avenue B, originally built as a private residence of Asa Fisher in 1884. The state legislature first appropriated funding for a governor's mansion in 1951. But Governor Brunsdale vetoed the bill, citing more important matters than funding a new mansion. A second attempt in 1955 overrode Brunsdale's veto and became law. It was originally planned to be located on the northeast grounds, on a, quote, grassy knoll 300 feet south of Divide Avenue, near the intersection of what is today called State Street. Ultimately, it was constructed on the opposite corner, near Boulevard Avenue and 4th Street. There were attempts to save and relocate the 1960s-era mansion rather than demolish it. However, it came with strong stipulations and would have been quite costly to relocate the 10,000-square-foot house. The site of the governor's mansion was once Bismarck's first cemetery, most commonly known as Boot Hill Cemetery. By the time of the original mansion's construction, most of the bodies had already been relocated to Fairview or St. Mary's cemeteries. At least 50 were relocated during the original Capitol's construction in 1883 to 1884, and 13 more during the streetcar line's construction in 1904. But some graves were unmarked and unknown. 5 additional coffins and bodies were discovered during the 1960 mansion's construction. The Sacagawea statue was dedicated on October 14, 1910. The statue depicts the Shoshone woman who, along with her infant child, accompanied explorers Lewis and Clark during their famed expedition through the region. The Sacagawea Committee, who championed for the bronze statue, included a number of prominent women, including Dr. Fanny Dunn Quain. Another prominent statue on the Capitol grounds is that of John Burke, who was a pivotal governor from 1906 to 1913. Burke was only the second non-Republican governor in North Dakota history to that point, and partly credited with crushing establishing the Mackenzie machine after 2 decades and ushering in a progressive movement that led to the creation of the Nonpartisan League. Burke was later U.S. Treasurer under President Wilson and Chief Justice of the North Dakota Supreme Court. The John Burke statue was placed south of the Capitol in 1963. That same year, North Dakota donated a similar statue of Burke to stand in the United States Capitol's National Statuary Hall, which remains today. Perhaps the most photographed statue in the Capitol grounds, owing to its prominent placement on the South Mall, the Pioneer family statue was permanently emplaced on the south grounds of the Capitol in August 1947. It was originally known as the McLean Pioneer Monument. Harry McLean donated the statue to the state in honor of his father, John McLean, who was Bismarck's first elected mayor. It was first dedicated in September 1944 before getting its permanent emplacement and rededication. I invite you to check out my 2 Bismarck history books. They are available to purchase on Amazon and select local bookstores. Copies are also available at the Bismarck Public Library. Visit bismarckbook.com for more information. That was a look at the current North Dakota State Capitol and Capitol grounds. Next, we're going to look at the famous 1966 blizzard. Is there a local history topic you'd like to be featured? Email historytalk@kfyrtv.com.